Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. Hope all of you are doing well. This is a video session on daily news and editorial analysis dated 6th of January. Through this video session, I'll be discussing the important news and editorial both from the Hindu and Indian Express. The analysis and the discussion in the news session will specifically cater the aspirant of civil services examination, state public service commission examination, and even one-day examination which is conducted in various states and conducted by the union government. So we'll see the detailed analysis of each and every news considering the fact that it is important for an examination perspective. Let's get started. First, I'll give you the highlights of the news, then we'll proceed with the in-depth analysis of the news one by one. Starting with the highlights of the day, the first important news talks about the cabinet approval to the Prithvi program, something meant for the Earth Observatory. We'll see the detail to that. Second important news talks about the deep tech policy. The government is about to come up with the policies. This is what the scientific advisor has actually made an announcement in the public domain. The third important news talks about the changes that is proposed in the PG medical education has not met some of the desired requirement as asked by the students. So there are some concern with regards to the recent changes that was proposed by the National Medical Commissions. The second last news talks about the GDP estimate, which is on a higher side. This is forecast which was made by the National Sample Survey Organization. So we'll see the detail what are the part of RBI forecast is also there in this regard. And I'll be concluding this session with an editorial that talks about examine the examination system. What are the things, what are the changes that need to be brought in to ensure that we have an effective evaluation system, and that system at the end will actually help in the part of a better prosperity and coming up with a good quality of the pass out, and they're actually making some willful contributions and even for the nation development to a larger extent. We'll see the detail via this editorial. Let's get started with the detailed analysis of the news one by one. And moving ahead with the first news of the day, that is the cabinet approved the Prithvi program for Earth observation. This particular news is pretty relevant for the prelims examination and even for General Studies paper 3. The Union Cabinet has actually made approval to the Prithvi. This is Prithvi Vigyan. This is by the Ministry of Earth Sciences for the implementations during the year 2021 till 26. Something very important which call for more part of the observations in the earth, and even it will call for another part of innovations coming out from the part of research activities that is actually looking over the earth. We have a lot of other missions that is also aligned by the ISRO, but this is something very important in terms of earth observations. Now, what is the sub program or sub schemes under this program? There's 5 important sub schemes that has been categorized under this scheme. So which are that first scheme? First is ACROSS. The ACROSS stand for Atmosphere and Climate Research Modeling Services and the part of system. So this is ACROSS. Make sure you remember it one by one. The second is OSMART, which call for Ocean Services, Modeling Applications, Resources and Technology. So this will be known with the name of OSMART. Then third, we have Polar Science and Cryosphere Research, which is known as PACER. So this will be known as PACER. The second last or the fourth one is Seismology and Geosciences, also known as SAGE. These are the other short forms. And Research, Educations and Training Outreach, that is known as REACH Out. So these are the 5 important sub-program under this scheme. Now, what are the aim and objective of this particular scheme and how it is going to help? So first and foremost, it called to improve the long-term observations in the atmosphere, which also include, apart from atmosphere, it will include the ocean, it will include the geosphere, cryosphere, solid earth, and changing the part of the earth, the whole soul, the planet. Now, to develop the model to understand and predict the weather, see, I mean, we have a navigation satellite as such. बहुत सारे IRNS के satellites हैं जो already functions में है, but this will call for more enhancement and state of art technology in predicting the weather, oceans, the climate hazards, and understanding the science of the climate. So when it comes to the part of the climatic change, we'll be able to cope up with more advanced technological advancement. The explore of polar and high seas region to discover the new phenomena and resources. These are the third aim and objective. Then we will able to develop the technology which will call for the explorations of sustainable harnessing and the ocean resources for societal application. To a larger extent, it will call for welfare of the individual welfare for the society as large, and it will also call for sustainably harnessing the ocean resources. And last but not least is to translate the knowledge and insight from the earth system into services that call for societal, environmental and economic benefit. So if you can see, the entire ambit and objective of this mission, the Prithvi mission, is going to be more relevant in the present context, and in the realm of the part of science and technology, it is something which is more important. Now, moving ahead with the deep startup policy soon, this is what the principal scientific advisors of the government of India has come up with an announcement that government is planning to come up with the deep tech policy. Now, deep tech policy is something which India do not have such policy, and this was recently approved by the Union Cabinet, subject to the part of recommendations that was given by the Parliamentary Standing Committee, and even for the other stakeholders. Government will be actually looking for the final implementation with the changes that has been proposed by the various stakeholders. Now, draft of the policies की अगर बात करें in June itself, if you're aware of this, June 2023 में government ने एक draft unveil किया था. I have made a discussion to that as well. So following the feedback from the industries, so these are the stakeholder, right? So these are the stakeholder. So the stakeholders have the industry. The final version has been actually been prepared by the government of India, the ministry concerned. और deep tech की अगर बात करें is a buzzword in the new tech and startup circle, which has no precise definition as yet. The draft policy referred to the startup database. India में अगर startups की बात करें, if you look at the part of organization or startup coming up with the technology, it states that there are close to 10298 recognized startup in the deep tech space. Something very important. India has been a country where a lot of innovations has been coming up, specifically in the space sector or the deep tech startups. Now, deep tech startups are categorized by the development and impactful intellectual property based, and the new scientific breakthroughs yet to be realized. Even if you look at the unicorns which is there in India, the company which has make billion plus profits, and even for the corpus of the total amount. So we are at the numbers where we rank among the top three economies. In terms of the startups, still India is looking forward with 5 trillion economy, और इंडिया के top 3 economy, वर्ल्ड की top 3 economy में इंडिया अपने आप को लिस्ट करनी चाहती है. These are the target that has always been envisioned by the Prime Minister of this country. But even to an extent, अगर deep tech startups की बात करें, we have substantially make a good progress. Now, themes of the draft policies की अगर बात करें, जो national deep tech startup policy जून में रिलीज हुई थी, at that point of time, the important policies that are based on certain specific themes which call for nurturing research and development and innovations. Then we have in the part of strengthening the IPR, that is intellectual the property regime. IPR is something which is very important. If an innovation is made, it has to be intellectual property regime under the part of certification and copyright. Facilitating access to funding, enabling the shared infrastructure and resource sharing. उसके अलावा ऐसी कंड्यूसिव रिकॉग्निशन देनी, स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन एंड सर्टिफिकेशन देनी, ताकि वो यूनिकनेस है जो खास करके इसकी जो यूएसपी है, दैट हैज टू बी मेंटेन. Attracting human resource, initiating the capacity building, promotions and procurement for adaptations, ensuring policy program and linkages, and sustaining the deep tech startups. So these were the major part and themes under the draft policy of National Deep Startup Tech Policy, which is also known as NDSTP, right? So these themes would be relevant. अगर आपको मेंस में कोई इससे रिलेटेड टॉपिक्स में क्वेश्चंस मिले तो आप इसके बारे में बता सकते हैं कि नेशनल डीप टेक पॉलिसीज में भी इसके बारे में बात की गई है. Now, Startup India database की अगर बात करें, if you look at the data as such, so what are the part of the progress that has been made? So May 2023, there has been close to 10298 recognized startup that is classified under various subsector, और वो सारे जो सब सेक्टर्स है वो डीप टेक स्टार्टअप्स के अंदर में है. And deep tech startups are characterized by development of impactful intellectual property based on the new scientific breakthrough with potential coming up to be realized. So we have seen various forms of startups coming, whether it is from the tech sector, whether it from the space, whether it from the part of other innovations, whether it from the AI, from the machine learning. a lot of innovation is coming with the part of startup, and their recognitions with the part of policies will be a need of the hour. Now, moving ahead, criticisms to the new PG medical education regulation. Recently, a particular regulation was notified. This was particularly named as Postgraduate Medical Education Regulation 2023. Now, this has witnessed a lot of criticism from the doctor fraternity, and they have been calling that some of things which has been addressed in this policy is not adequate, and even do not think of the practicality which the doctor has to go for. So, what are the concerns? We'll see the detail to that as well. पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन मेडिकल एजुकेशन रेगुलेशंस की अगर बात करें, दिस वाज समथिंग व्हिच वाज देयर बाय द नेशनल मेडिकल कमीशंस एंड इट हैज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड द चेंजेस इन द पीजी कोर्सेज, जो पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट के कोर्सेज हैं उनमें की गई थी. So first and foremost is regarding the including of equal stipend for the PG student for both private and state run colleges, because अभी भी जो PG colleges है private और government में कुछ variations आती हैं on the part of stipend. Minimum casual leave and resident accommodations were the part which was included by the National Medical Commissions, right? The regulations also outline the penalties जहाँ पे non compliances को लेकर के, and even for addressing the seat reservation that call for the establishment of the academic cells, right? Now, NMC, this is the National Medical Commission, just to correct, this is NMC, National Medical Commissions. They have come up with the national exit for the part of people who are actually going for the, the postponement was there. Earlier, you have to go with the national exit test for until the further order. So, right, so this is something which has been taken care of. और इसको postpone कर दी गई. जो national exit examination है वो for time being has been postponed. The regulation has introduced 6 type of PG programs which have the various degrees covering from specialty qualification, super specialty course, diploma courses, and post-doctoral certificate courses. If you look at the doctors, they have certain certifications and certain part of extra achievement, academic achievement, which goes by course. So there are other PG courses which has been introduced under the Postgraduate Medical Regulation 2023. Now, what was the concern over the new regulation? The first and foremost concern that was highlighted was about the working hour. The working hour की बात की गई थी. The working hour are actually not in sync with the part of practical part. Now, even the mental health, the burnout issues of the resident doctor, irregularity of the stipend, which is not properly addressed in the part of new regulation. This is what the doctor fraternity has to say. And doctors are also unhappy with the guideline on silent on the integration of artificial intelligence in the curriculum. It was being talked about कि AI की मदद से curriculum design होगी. Some part will be also taken care with the part of the changing trend in the medical. So these guidelines are even not clear, and even for the part of clarity is not there. So this was the concern that was specifically highlighted by the doctors with regard to the new regulation of 2023. Now moving ahead, NSO data on the part of India's GDP growth. अगर बात करें NSO की, National Statistical Office, so they have projected Indian economy growth to be 7.3%, right? 7.3% की anticipations की गई हैं. Let's see whether it will achieved or not. And this was something which is something feasible at the context जहाँ पे RBI ने भी अभी बहुत सारी अपनी जो rates हैं, repo rates, reverse repo rates को बहुत ज़्यादा, they have not actually increased it, they have maintained the status quo as such. So GDP growth trend की अगर बात करें, इंडिया में जो real GDP है for 2023 was estimated to be around 7.3%, right? And compared to 7.2% for an year ago. So a marginal increase has been seen. And the Indian economy grew to 7.7% in the first half. This is the data that was realized. And even interestingly, अगर NSO की gross value added की बात करें, GVA की बात करें, the economy is slightly on the 7% compared to 6.9% this particular year. So overall, we have seen a positive sentiment from the overall growth and the anticipations coming from the NSO. Now, growth forecast over RBI की बात करें, if you look at the RBI forecast, the RBI has actually elevated the growth forecast from 6.5% to 7%. Now RBI has actually come up with 7%. Earlier 6.5% की growth anticipate की गई थी. The economy has demonstrated the faster pace growth for 6.6% on year-on-year basis of following the 7.8 expansion in the previous quarter. So this is why the forecast of higher side has been made, because of the trend is ongoing. Some economist has also expressed that India's full year economic growth is close to the RBI forecast of 7%. And government GDP forecast for 2024 is essentially based on the April-November data, because we have seen that trend is ongoing. Sometimes we have seen that the GST collection goes on, even sometimes there's a hike, there's a peak, there's low, but that also make a calculation. But overall, the GDP forecast is on a higher side compared to the last year or even the last quarters. Now, moving ahead with the editorial for the day that talks about the need to examine the examination system. We'll see the detail to this article with the sub heading and topics which I've segregated. That is the decentralized system. We'll see the detail to that. Assessment quality में क्या improvement की ज़रूरत है, क्या measurement की ज़रूरत है, and even for the part of conclusion that is there. Now, during examination, it is often seen that media people come up with the highlighting the scandals which is there at university board examination, which impact the part of credibility of the examination system and certificate that is being issued. This goes for the higher education, the college educations, and even for the competitive examination which is there. Now, reliable of educational institution examination system is crucial for maintaining the educational standard, and this has to be worked upon. It ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने कोई एग्जाम ली है without a full proof, and even for the part of quality check it will goes on. You have to ensure a quality check is there. The focus is not to be there on the examination pattern, such as, if you look at the memory based testing or even to the narrow approach, this is something not going to work. There should be a full proof mechanism which is actually testing the right candidate at the right time. Now, inflating marks and achieving the high pass percentage become a priority for the education administrator, resulting in the increase with the talent cost of the employees as well. See, if a formal education is not good, if you're graduating from a part of engineering college and you have not been given with a good quality education, what will happen? You will not land up with the good qualities of job and even for the placement part, right? So there become a lot of many problem. So it is essentially required the quality education should be promoted with a good evaluation of an candidate. A credible examination system is essential for improving the overall standard of an education. Right? Now, decentralized system की भी बात की गई है. This is at the college level and at the university level. India has close to 1,100 universities और उसमें कुछ 50K के आसपास जो affiliated colleges हैं, enrolling about 40.1 million students. Additionally, there are 60 school that is certified with 15 million students. Now, the key to maintain the credibility and the education standards lies with the transparency in teaching. उसके बाद किस तरह से उसकी assessment की जाती है. See, first is the teaching part, the teaching methodology, the curriculum which is there. Then comes to the evaluation, how the actually evaluation is done, and ultimately the part of recognition is given to the student, right? The decentralized system recognizes the confidentiality, the standard of examination while maintaining the minimum standard which is crucial. How it will be done? By conducting a proper examination. और उसके लिए transparency की भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, जो कि need of the hour है in promoting and coming up with the decentralized system of education. Now, assessment quality become very important as I have been focusing on the part of quality education. तो quality education के साथ जो quality part of assessment है वो भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So in the academic courses, we have seen that the outcome-based learning is something which come up with the board advisories, curriculum, pedagogies, and even for the examination. So this has to be followed to a larger extent. Right? However, the institutions often deviate from the lack of effective oversight. जो जिस तरह की actual desired है, जो SOPs हैं examination के लिए वो भी follow नहीं की जाती है. Now to address this, we need to come up with more professional bodies in terms of डिजाइनिंग. आपने देखा होगा अभी रिसेंट में कुछ टाइम पहले मैंने क्वाइट सम फ्यू इयर्स अगो वी हैव अ फॉर्मेशन ऑफ एनटीए नेशनल टेस्टिंग एजेंसीज, जो कि इंश्योर करती है कि सीबीएसई की अगर नीट के एग्जामिनेशंस हैं उसको वो कंडक्ट करे, जेई के एग्जामिनेशन को कंडक्ट करे, और बहुत सारे ऐसे ओपन रिक्रूटमेंट होते हैं जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में प्रोफेसर्स की, उनके लिए भी एनटीए एग्जामिनेशन कंडक्ट करती है. सो दिस इज अ फुल प्रूफ बॉडी विच हैड इंश्योर द क्वालिटी टू अ लार्जर एक्सटेंट, राइट. सो सेम उसी पैरामीटर्स पे हमें एक पैरेलल करिकुलम चेंजेस की जरूरत है. द इश्यूज ऑफ secrecy in assessment is very essential. Evaluation should be indiscriminate and even the grade does not have a different learning, because अगर आपने सही से evaluate नहीं किया तो उस individual की employability पे भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा असर होता है. And even it certifications of the board examination is not certified by the examination, but even the recognition is not given to the individual, and ultimately the institution to a larger extent, they are on the downfall, और उसकी rating खराब होने की वजह से पूरे institutions के भी नाम खराब. Now, what are the measures that is required? First, we should have a minimum learning standard, which is MLS, minimum learning standard की जरूरत है. And even for the design part with assessment curriculum has to be taken care of. Ongoing led assessment जो है, that can be done with the real-time oversight. Transparent summative assessment, including the feedback from the student, are crucial for accountability, and even a call for more robustness in the assessment part of the process. The setting of the question papers would be standardized, जहाँ पे academic content, evaluations और standardizations की ज़रूरत है to maintain a check and balances, and even this will ensure that the quality check is always done rigorously with the part of assessment process. The transparency in accessing the evaluation process for the student will address the part of grievances that should be put in place. So this type of insight is important if you're writing specifically in the case study as well. तो आप कुछ important यहाँ से examples quote कर पाएंगे. Now to conclude, regular external audit of the universities is important. There can be various agencies which can make an audit, which can ensure that the reliability and consistency of an institution is taken into consideration. Grade must distinguish between the attainment. उसके बाद जो examination की process है, जो transparency है, credibility है, उसे maintain कीजिए. जो minimum standard है, जो minimum standard expectations है, even for the minimum standard procedures जो है, that has to be followed. Referring the part and reforming the education system is something which is very important to ensure that we are improving on the quality standard, ensuring that the candidate, the individual who is taking the formal education from any given institution, maintain the dignity, and even to a larger extent should call that yes, this is the institution which has made an individual more people centric and even more towards something that for the growth for the society and prosperity, right? So एक इंडिविजुअल इंस्टीट्यूशंस की काफ़ी अहम रोल होती है एक इंडिविजुअल को शेप करने में, उसके ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट में, and they should always take, see, there can be a downside, there can be another side to that always, but to a larger extent it should ensure that yes, the institution has played a credible role in development of an individual personalities. Now moving ahead with the answers and discussion for yesterday question, जो first question है उसकी correct option है B, इसमें options 1 correct है and option 3 is correct. Do check out what you have marked as a correct option. The second question, the correct option is A. Here option 1 is correct and the other statement are mentioned over here. Check out what you have marked as a correct option. Today's MCQ for practice. The first question is from the graphene. This was there in the news. Graphene is a single layer carbon atom arranged in the hexagonal pattern. It is nearly complete, transparent and severe ineffective barrier to the gases. And even graphene exhibit to the conductivity of heat and electricity. So to participate in the question answer, simply you have to just write question number 1 in the comment section, followed by your correct option A, B, C or D that you have to choose with your logical reasoning and understanding, and you can drop your answer in the comment section down below. Do participate. Your participation is very important for us. The second question is about the NHPC Limited. It starts with the development of hydroelectric power in the nation. It operates under the Ministry of Renewable Energy, Government of India. Again, the same method. Question number 2. Do mention question number, then write your answers, which is followed by A, B, C or D, and you can drop your answer in the comment section down below. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern about test series, programs, new admission, any specific course, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for stay connected.